Hi everyone, welcome to the University of Arizona webinar today. We have Ms. Jasmine Mufari with us from University of Arizona, who is a MENA Global Enrollment Counselor. She will be discussing more details regarding the courses, scholarships, student life, and so on about University of Arizona, which will be further followed by question and answer session. Let's begin. Over to you, Jasmine.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. Yes, my name is Jasmine Mufara. I will go ahead and get started going over a little bit about the university, some of the programs we offer, financing, student life. So if you have any questions at the end, please let me know. So this is the University of Arizona. We are based in Tucson, Arizona. We are a public university. So we have over 46,000 students on campus. Around 6.5% make up our international students. We're represented by over 120 different countries, which means we are quite diverse in our campus, which is really good, especially as an international student. You don't want to just be by yourself when you're going to school and classes. A little bit more about Tucson, Arizona. It is considered not a big city or a small town. It's that perfect blend of the two. We are located the southwest of the US. So our neighbors are California, so Nevada with Las Vegas, Utah, and New Mexico. So our weather is typically very hot all year round, but we have more of a dry heat versus humidity. The coldest it gets is around 18 degrees Celsius. So it does get a little cold, and not too much. So yeah, again, showing a little bit more about it, of our weather. We are considered we have what's called a dark sky city, which means we pride ourselves on astrophysics and astronomy. So we do like to have a low light pollution so that our astronomers are able to see the stars and the planets really easily. And actually a reason why we're ranked number 2. We have a project right now with NASA that's over $800 billion, which is really something that we like to celebrate. As I said, that we're that perfect blend between a big city and small town. You can see we have around 500,000. We're actually at 1 million now in our city, which gives that perfect, again, it's not a big city, and we have low cost of living, which again, very good. Tucson is considered the UNESCO City of Gastronomy. And what that means is we have a lot of different cuisines from all over the world. So if maybe you're missing home a little bit, you have that option to potentially find foods that you might have missed back home, or maybe you want to try different cuisine from somewhere else. We also thrive with music and art. We have a host of different cultural events. I personally love the Tucson Meet Yourself, which is this opportunity for different vendors in the Tucson area to sell their products for different types of countries. It kind of becomes a social event when you go to it. There's also the Tucson Festival of Books, which we just had last month. And then there's also the El Tour de Tucson if you are into biking and doing more of that athletic leisure. Tucson is also considered the most hospitable city, which is again something you want to look for when you're looking for a city that you're going to be living in for at least 4 years of your life. So Tucson has a lot of outdoor activities. We have a number of different national parks that are very close by. We have the Zion National Park, the Grand Canyon, which is up north. It's about a 4-hour drive. And then the Saguaro National Park, which is literally just to the west of our campus. So if you're really into hiking and being outdoors, this is a great opportunity for you to be able to explore these different landscapes. And it's a fun little road trip if you like to do it as well. I've done it a few times. So as I mentioned, I know earlier about cost of living. So this is a nice little breakdown for you to kind of get a better idea of what I mean by cost of living is cheaper. So when you can compare to bigger cities, like in this case, San Francisco, New York City, Seattle, Austin, you can see that price, which just means that you can stretch your dollar a little bit more in Tucson than you could in potentially any of these places. So you can use it on more fun activities potentially. The University of Arizona has on-campus housing. We also have public transportation. So there is this thing called the CAT-Tran that goes all around campus so that you don't have to walk to your next class. You don't necessarily have to use it, but it's a free amenity. And then there's also walking and biking lanes. There's even these really cute biking parking lots that have valet. It's a whole deal. And then everything is within like 1.5 square kilometers. It's really close. You don't really have to leave the campus if you don't want to, which makes it convenient. If you don't want to buy a car, you don't necessarily need to buy one. These are some of the majors that we offer at the University of Arizona. We have in agriculture, fine arts, engineering, business. I'm not going to name all of them, but you can kind of get an idea of what we offer because we do have around, I think, over 200 majors at the undergraduate level and 300 at the master's level. Okay. So I like to describe a little bit about our undergraduate programs, kind of how to find them, because I find this a really fun activity to do, especially when you're still trying to explore what your options are and finding the right major for you. So what it offers is a sample degree plan. So when you click on, you select the search bar, you put in the major you're interested in. In this case, it can be applied linguistics. Then you click it and it will show you the whole sample degree. It won't give you the exact classes, all of them, just the core classes you need in order to graduate. But again, it gives you a summary. It gives you potential careers if you do graduate with that degree. And you have the option to also visit the college website, which gives you more insight. Sometimes they also offer scholarships directly through the college that you're applying to. So that's something you should reference every time, for potential opportunities for you. But you can find this more out when you're actually on campus in your program and talking to your academic advisor. We also like to talk a little bit about rankings because we know it's really important. This is an investment you're making on yourself. You want it to be able to reap gains when you do graduate and be able to find a job. So this really helps. We are number 2 in management information systems. So if you're into business, this is one for you. Also number 2 in water resources. So hydrology, kind of extending that water life if you're interested in that. Physical science and research, number 5 in astronomy and astrophysics, number 1 in astronomy research. So again, we're into those space sciences and climate change as well. Important things. So yeah, we're considered a research one university. So we do like that. So your professors who you'll be taught with have been doing research. They're the ones that kind of elevate our status within the university, which again is really important. Some of the resources as a student you have are tutoring services. We call that think tank. So maybe if you're having any issues with classes or you need that extra help, you can stop by and get connected with a tutor. Usually that student is an older student that's already taken the class or they specialize in it and then they're offering their services. And again, a great resource and there's no fee with it. And just drop by advising. There's also faculty advising and office hours. Just because we're a public university doesn't mean you don't get to have that one-on-one with professors. And I think that's a common misconception with public universities. So please feel free. If you have questions at all, talk to your professor. I promise they're not scary. They actually really do want to get to know you a little bit better. And especially if you're interested in their class, I mean, they're probably gonna offer you more information that you might not necessarily want, but at least you can learn more about your particular subject. And then another resource is international student services. Now, this is something very important for my international students because this is your gateway to help you. They're the ones that are doing your immigration, your I-20s. They're the ones, if you're having any problems in your classes, you go and reference them. So they're this big hub that you go to if you have any needs at all that they'll help you and assist you with. And then we have counseling services that goes for social and emotional as well, because we do understand, you are far away from home. Sometimes you need that little extra guidance or a little someone to listen to you. And so we do offer that. And next is Student Success Center, another resource that you have. This also has career opportunities. So we offer career fairs while you're studying in classes. We give you sometimes little emails if you want. We do workshops on resumes. So we want to make sure that when you do graduate with your full degree, you don't feel like you're just thrown into the world. You do have that opportunity to prepare yourself. And we also offer, not necessarily offer internships, but you have the opportunity to be an intern with some of our companies that we work closely with. And that's something that you will think about later on, especially when you're about to graduate. And when you have the opportunity to work in the US, you'll apply for what's called OPT. But we'll discuss that later when you get to that point in your career. And then last is campus health. We do have like a facility for you to go to if anything should happen. You have that resource as well. So we are a Division I university, which means we are really, really big into sports. We have that big college life, kind of that American feel that you normally would think of. This is actually one of our basketball games. Our basketball team is phenomenal. And fun fact, actually, most of the students in our basketball team are actually international students, as well as our rugby team. So you'll be pretty surprised that you're being represented by somebody. And what we also have are these really cool Zona Zoo, where you have a little section that only U of A students go to. They pay a fee, and that's kind of your way to kind of immerse yourself in that athletic culture. You don't have to go though if you don't want to, if you're not into sports, but I highly recommend just going once just to say you've been and to experience it. Then we have the Student Rec Center. So this is basically like a huge gym that we have on campus. It offers athletic equipment, weights, running, a swimming pool, some classes that you can take for leisure. So at least you have that opportunity on campus that you can go to in your free time or in between classes. It all depends on your choice. And then we have over 600 student clubs. So the student clubs are your chance to kind of immerse yourself again. When you're going to university, yes, you're going there to study, but you also need to make sure that you're a part of that community. You want to take advantage of everything that you see on campus. And that includes going to clubs. So you can go to clubs maybe that you really want to go to. Maybe it's an activity you enjoy, like hiking, or you enjoy watching movies, or you're a foodie. So you can go to clubs like that. There's also academic clubs. Maybe you're in engineering or you are in business. You have that opportunity, again, to join these clubs that offer networking services, where you can get connected with companies that potentially they might hire you in the future. So those are something, again, to think about. Usually on our campus lawn, so that big green area, you can see, and students will put up desks with little tents, and they'll kind of advertise their clubs to you to hopefully kind of get more students in. And then the last is on-campus employment. So as an international student, you are more than welcome to get a job on campus. You can only work 20 hours per week. And there is a specific platform that we use called Handshake. So you just, again, go to that platform, you look for jobs that you're kind of interested in, and then you can apply for it. And there shouldn't be any problems. Once you do get the job, though, that's when you have to go back to ISS and just inform them so they can give you a social security number as well, because you have to make sure it's just something you have to do as a student, but just to be aware of it. And usually the on-campus jobs can be a little bit different. You can actually work in international missions with us, answering emails. You can also work the front desk. You can work with food as well. So it just depends on what you want to do. When I went to the University of Arizona, I actually worked in the English Language Center as a computer tech, ironically. So, I mean, you can kind of do whatever you'd like. What else we have? Campus housing. So we have 23 dormitories on campus. Most of them are going to be considered co-ed. And by that, it just means one floor is all men, and another floor is all women. So, I mean, each floor is technically one gender, but with all in one building. There is one dormitory on campus that is for only women. So if that's something you're interested in, I 100% guarantee, recommend that you apply for it. They With our dormitories, though, you're not required to live on campus, but if you do, I recommend signing up for it earlier in the year, because usually by the deadline of May 1st, the houses are gone. Like it's because it's first come, first serve. And as soon as a student knows, they apply for the housing right away. So if you're interested in that, I highly recommend, again, signing up for that as soon as you can. Then we have living learning communities. So the students will sometimes create like communities within their dormitories that, they tutor themselves with, or they, do projects together. Again, they create their own little community, which is why we usually recommend students to live on campus the first year, just so that you acclimate to that campus and that culture and make friends. Because if you live off campus right away, you're more likely to just go home to your class and go home back again, and you're not really getting a feel of where you're studying. And that's kind of not the point of when you're living abroad. You want to experience where you're living. So, which is why I recommend that. Unless you're a very outgoing person, then yes, feel free to live off campus right away. Or if you just want to avoid everybody too. And then there are different rates with our dormitories. We have very cheap and we also have very expensive. So if you're going to live with a student, usually that's what students do. They'll have a roommate. The cheapest is around $6,000 US per year per academic year. So that includes fall and spring. Usually in winter time and summer, you're not able to stay, but sometimes, especially with international students, you might be able to request with them like, hey, can I leave my stuff here, or can I extend my stay to be a little longer? But you have to, again, work with the housing office. But again, something to consider. Don't feel like you're not aware of these things before. Yes, and there's other room types. Again, you can do single, you can do double, or you can do suite style, which is basically you're having your own room to yourself, but that's going to be the most expensive option. And usually they're also taken quite quickly. You can see a little bit here. There's a picture of kind of some of the amenities they offer within your room. Some have a refrigerator, others don't. And then sometimes they have just like a communal kitchen area, usually on the floor or maybe the base floor. The other option is off-campus housing, which I mentioned to you. And what I really like about this off-campus housing is, one, they just show you a list of all of the apartments that are available nearby. It's not necessarily associated with the university, but you at least get an idea of what is out there. And then the next is the roommate search. So with the roommate search, you are connected with other students at the University of Arizona. They usually put a picture of themselves, what their major is, what they're interested in. So you can kind of figure out if that person is the right fit for you to stay with, because when you do sign the lease, it is for a year. If you are under the age of 18, though, when you arrive to campus, you will not be able to live in an apartment just because you're not of legal age. So if you're younger, you will have to do the dormitory routes. And that's just, again, a legality thing. But yeah, if you're old enough, you'll be signing a lease, and the lease is for 1 year. We also offer leasing resources, so you get an idea, again, of what to expect, or if you have any questions with it. Applying. So it's a very simple thing. You can apply online, directly through our website, through Common App. You can do it, again, a number of ways. You only need 3 things. To submit your application, so fill out the form. It's going to ask a bunch of personal information. The next is uploading your transcripts. We need a minimum of 3 years of high school transcripts. And then the last is proof of English proficiency. So where our general requirements are 3.0 GPA for general majors, but for more competitive majors like business, architecture, engineering, we're going to ask for a 3.5, a 3.7 GPA. So again, just depends on your interests. If you're interested in engineering, there's also a course requirement. You will need to have pre-calculus, and you'll need to have physics as well. And the English proficiency, you can do the IELTS or TOEFL, and we also accept a Duolingo right now. Enrollment options. So there's a few ways you can study on our campus. You can do it through main campus, which a majority of students do, but sometimes you might not be able to get to campus. Maybe there is an issue with visas, or and it just being delayed. So you can do online for the first semester or first year, and then transition to main campus. Or you can do fully online if you choose to. But again, you're not completely stuck. You have a few different things. Now the pricing. So our tuition is around 40,000 US dollars per year. However, we do offer merit-based scholarships. This is not something you need to additionally apply to. It is automatic as long as you apply before the deadline, which is May 1st in this situation for fall, and it would be on November 1st for spring, which starts in January. So the breakdown is depending on your cumulative GPA. If you're getting a 4.0 GPA out of 4, so 100% highest tier, you can get that 22,000 per year, every year for 4 years. Not, you have the 18, 15, 7, 5. So it goes all as low as 5. And that's for that 3.0 B average. And then the online option, it is a little bit cheaper. It can be 16 or up to 13,000 per year. There's no scholarships because it's already kind of reduced as well. What students sometimes do, if that's not enough money though, for main campus, the merit scholarship, they'll usually reference to Education USA or Emmett East, or in some cases, students have sponsorships, government sponsorships, and that's also another option too. So yeah, as I talked about earlier, this is kind of how the scholarship works. If you don't exactly know how to calculate, you just put it in Google, how to calculate your GPA, and it'll give you a nice kind of quick summary on how to find that option out. So again, with the GPA, so my advice, you can, again, we need 3 years. So you can technically apply with your 9th, 10th, and 11th grade transcripts and already get a decision. But if you're doing better in 12th grade than you are in 9th, we don't reevaluate. So if you think you're getting better in 12th grade, I would wait to apply until you get at least your midterm for 12th grade and then submit your application, just so that you get the most opportunity for yourself in finances. Another option is Scholarship Universe. It is a platform that students use. However, for international students, the opportunities aren't as frequent, you'll notice, but it is another option for you. And then the third one is the Honors College. Again, it's not a guarantee, but there are more opportunities for you to get scholarships that way, and department scholarships, which I mentioned earlier, and on-campus employment. So yeah, really easy. Create your application. After that, you're going to create your net ID, pay your enrollment fee, and then request your I-20, and you're off to go. That's it. I'll go ahead and close this with you. Okay.
Thank you, Jasmine, for the presentation. So if you have any questions, so you can drop in the question and answer section. It's already open, so we can ask it from Jasmine, so she can explain it to you further. Yeah, I got one question, Jasmine, regarding fully funded scholarships. Is it available for Arab countries?
So we don't offer fully funded scholarships. I think the only opportunities you'd find for fully funded is if your government would provide that. In those cases, the only ones I know of are, Saudi Arabia has their government sponsorship, the UAE does, Qatar does for some of their programs. I'm trying to think if there's a few more, and Kuwait as well.
Yeah. I hope you got the answer.
I'm curious to know what majors everybody's interested in, or if they even know what they want to do yet.
Yes, most of them does not know what they want to do. Yeah, they're still trying to figure it out. I hope Arizona provide like a lot of majors. So yeah.
Oh yeah, we have over 200.
And also, can you brief about the entry requirements usually for successfully to get admitted to the university successfully, generally?
Yeah, for general admission, yeah. So it's simple. We just need, again, those last 3 years of high school. We need a 3.0 cumulative GPA. Now, what that means that we look at your last 3 years of high school, and we look at, your math, your science, your English, or another language that you're taking, social science, and then one art class. So kind of those are the classes we look at, and it's cumulative. So we don't base it off of just 1 year, which can be a good or bad thing, depending on how well you're doing in class.
So yeah, I think your presentation covered most of the parts. Most of them got their answers, I think. And I would like to thank you and all the attendees here for participating in today's webinar. So thank you again, all of you.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining. I'm glad you attended. Appreciate it. I just saw the question right now. Apart from the merit-based scholarship, what other scholarships are available for CBSE students? So we don't have any other scholarships, but I know since you're using the Indian curriculum, I believe a 50 is our B average, so a 3.0 for us. So anything higher than that, you can kind of approximate how much you could potentially earn, if that helps. And then I just saw the other question, are international students eligible for scholarships? Yeah, so the merit-based scholarship I mentioned earlier, that is for international students only. That is for you. So if you apply and you have the grades and you're eligible, it's automatically applied. So when you receive your admission letter, it says exactly, hi, you've been awarded, 18,000. I saw the other question, does the university offer work placement post-undergraduate course? So we don't necessarily give you that, okay, here's a job, you're going to apply right away. So while you're in classes, while you're taking your 4-year degree, we give you opportunities. So like I said, the career fairs where you can talk to current employers and you can ask them, hey, I'm an international student. Can I work for you? Do you have opportunities? And we do that throughout the year. So you have those chances to speak with them. And then in some cases, sometimes your program will ask you to kind of do an internship or do a project with a company. So again, you have those opportunities. And with a US degree, when you do graduate, you can apply for OPT. That's basically an extension of your student visa that lasts it can go up to 3 years, depending on what you do your major in. They're great questions. Would a 4.0 GPA equate to 100% in terms of, or how does that work? So, see, that's a good question. Which is actually for our evaluation team, they would be able to answer directly. But like I said, if 50% is a B average for us, I would assume like an 80% is 100 with the CBSE curriculum. But that's just me kind of estimating with what we've received. But really great question. And then next question is it a safe location? We hear too much about gun violence. Yeah, so I think that's fair to ask about the gun violence. So at the University of Arizona, it is very safe. And that's when I was referencing how we are a smaller university. We are a big university, but small city. So our crime rate is really, really, really low compared to other places. You're not going to have shooting on the daily. I think what I would say is you're going to find a little bit of danger no matter where you go in the world. And you just need to find the place with the least amount of it. Yeah. Next is for astrophysics programs, you offer internships. If so, with what companies? So as I mentioned, we have this project going with NASA currently. I don't think international students can necessarily be involved in a project with NASA, but there are sub companies and sub programs they might be doing. So when you're doing, because astrophysics is at the graduate level, not at the bachelor's. It's actually called just astronomy at the bachelor's level. But when you do get into that higher grad level, you're going to, and even at the lower, you're going to be taught by these professors, and they have those connections within the industry. So even if you're an international student, I'm sure they're going to be able to give you an opportunity with a great company that will help you along the way. Yeah. And then how can we get a full ride? Unfortunately, we don't have fully funded scholarships. The only thing we have is the merit-based partial scholarship. And then do you also offer any summer programs? Yes, we do actually. We have a number of different summer programs for high school students that you can apply to. They are actually usually science related. Let me see if actually I can find it, the link for all these summer programs. Okay, oh yeah, I did. Okay, so you can go to this website. It has all the summer programs that we do offer at the University of Arizona. But again, it's more related to STEM. So if you're not into STEM, it might not be a good opportunity. Yeah, of course. You guys all had great questions. So thank you. Any other questions?
I hope that's it, Jasmine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, again, thank you, everyone. If you have any more, please let her know and she can relay them to me or anything like that.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Hope you guys all have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Thanks.